Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer.
Shalom, shalom. Double grace and peace be unto each and every one of you on this beautiful Wednesday morning. I trust that you had a wonderful evening. More so, as always, it is my prayer that you will have a wonderful day. I know that there may be challenges and you may encounter difficulties, but I want to encourage you to cultivate a mindset that that prevents you from allowing um, anything to affect your day. We ought to strive to be focused, to remain steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, in the work of the Lord. And this morning, I want to welcome you, as always, to Inspirational Thoughts. Don't forget, Inspirational Thoughts, it is a program that is designed to convert thoughts into words with the intent to motivate and inspire each and every one of us to do better and to be better. I am one who believes that we can be better and we can do better. What about you? However, in order for us to achieve this, it is important that we understand that it is going to require effort. It is going to require, number two, that we feed on the right things. And number three, it requires that we associate ourselves with the right people. Last week, Friday, we embarked on looking at the topic, the four agreements. Now, this is taken from a book called The Four Agreements, written by Miguel Don Ruiz. And this book is a very awesome book, one that I've read multiple times and has transformed my way of thinking. However, on Friday we just looked at the summary of it and we spoke on the four main agreements. This morning we are going to probe a little deeper in each agreement, and we're going to see what we can learn from it. And I also do apologize. This morning we were supposed to have Brother Neriah Libla on with us, but due to circumstances beyond our control, we were unable to have him. However, he will be with us, if the Lord's will, tomorrow morning. And this is a program that you definitely want to look forward to. Myself, I'm looking forward to it. Brother Neriah is one who is indeed a student of the Word, one that can inspire and indeed motivate us. So please look out for that. Before we delve into our subject for this morning, which is be impeccable with your words. This subject or topic is of great importance, and there are some things about this topic that we really need to discuss. So please stay tuned. But before we delve into it, I want to share the quote of the day, or the quote for the day. And this one is very simple. And as always, I would like you to share your thoughts on this quotation. If the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experiences, that alone would change their world. If the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experiences, that alone would change their world. Folks, it is possible. Transformation is indeed possible. However, true transformation begins in the mind. The Bible tells us, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If we're able to renew our minds, then it is possible to bring about transformation. Let us take a closer look at be impeccable with your words. But before I do so, I would like to just shout out Andre Humphreys, an old schoolmate of mine from Antigua and Barbuda. Happy birthday to you, my brother. I trust that you'll have a blessed and productive day today. And And Brother Lewis, I realize he was on briefly. I just want to say good morning to you as well. And I really hope and pray that, brother, you'll have a wonderful day. This is a brother who did a morning program that was very, very popular back in the days. Very, very popular. But nonetheless, we are going to look at the first agreement. And that first agreement is the most important one out of the four. And over a period of time, we're going to look at these agreements in an isolated way. We're going to look at them one at a time. So the first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence that is called heaven on earth. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, 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 did I say very? It is very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John in the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Through the Word, you you express your creative power. It is through the word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through the word. Manifest through the word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through the word. Again, this speaks of the immense power of the spoken word. And before I go further, I want to say good morning to Brother Jeremiah out there viewing this program from India. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. The word is indeed powerful. But there are some things about the word that we need to take into consideration. Now, the word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life. You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? Listen carefully to this. The word is the most powerful tool that you have as a human. Do you believe that? Do you agree with that statement? The word is the most powerful tool that we have as humans. It is the tool. It is a tool of magic. Now, for some, that word may sound a little strange, but please have patience with me, and as we proceed, we will get a clearer understanding, right? So that word is magic, but like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy every single thing around you. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth, depending on how you use it. Now it is important that we understand this, and understanding that the word is like a two-edged sword. It can be used to build up, or it could use to tear down. Now, when we think of this, we often think of it in the second person perspective. We think of the effect that it has on the individuals that's hearing. Now, that is true. But we also ought to take into consideration the effect our word has on us. And indeed, our word does have an effect on us. So it is like the two-edged sword. How we use it is of great importance. How we use it is of great importance. Depending on how we use it, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. Folks, no, no, no. This is something that we really ought to take into consideration. That word, the word that we use. And let me tell you something. Every single day we use words. Every single day. And some of us even use words when we sleep. Some people talk in their sleep, right? So that word, depending on how you use it, that word can set you free or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic that you possess is based on your word. Your word is pure magic, and misuse of your word is black magic. The word is so powerful that one word can change a life or destroy the lives of millions of people. Let me take you back to Germany for a brief moment. Years ago, and I mean years ago, probably I myself I probably wasn't even a thought. Some years ago, a man in Germany, by the use of the word, manipulated a whole country of the most intelligent people. He led them into a world war with just the power of his word. He convinced others to commit the most atrocious act of violence. He activated, and listen carefully now, he activated people's fear with the word. And like a big explosion, there was killing and war all around the world. All over the world, humans destroy other humans because they were afraid of each other. The power of word, the power of the spoken word. The word is indeed powerful, and we ought to take that into consideration. Very, very powerful. So, so the human mind is like a fertile ground. And, and when we consider the word, we also have to consider the mind. Now, the mind, like I said, is like a fertile ground where seeds are continually being planted. You see, the mind, even though it's like fertile ground or fertile soil, it is vastly different. Because with the traditional soil, you may have to do what is called crop rotation in order to keep that various nutrients in the soil. And if you overuse the soil, then guess what's going to happen? The soil won't be fit for planting, right? The human mind is like that fertile ground where seeds are being sown continually. Seeds are continually being planted. The seeds, listen carefully, it's not the seed of corn, right? It's not those type of seeds. These are seeds of opinions, ideas, concept, or concepts. You plant a seed, a thought, and it grows. The word is like a seed, and the human mind is so fertile. The only problem is that too often it is fertile for the seed of fear. Every human mind is fertile, but only for those kinds of seed that it is prepared for. Here's the question that is of great importance. What kind of seeds are you prepared for? What type of seeds? And when we talk about seeds, keep in mind that we're talking about the word, the spoken word. What type of opinions, ideas, and concepts are our minds ready for or prepared for? What is important is to see what kind of seed your mind is fertile for and to prepare it to receive the seed of love. Folks, it is not by accident. We have to prepare ourselves to receive various types of information. And there are some information that we should reject, that we should not allow to sit in our minds. Because if we allow them to sit in our minds and we allow various opinions to germinate, then the product is something that we may not like. And as a result, we have to be so mindful. We have to be careful. We're going back to Hitler. Take the example of Hitler. He sent out all those seeds of fear, and they grew very strong and beautifully achieving massive destruction. Folks, we have to be careful of what we listen to. We have to be careful of what we feed ourselves with, and that is something that I try to remind us of every single morning. We have to be mindful as to what we put in our minds and what our minds are prepared to receive, because how your mind is fashioned will determine how it responds to information that it receives. So Hitler sent all of those seeds of fear. He sowed all of those seeds of fear, and they grew very strong and beautifully, achieving massive destruction. Seeing the awesome power of the word, we must understand what power comes out of our mouth. We must understand what power that comes from our mouth. Folks, I'm hoping that we're able to see this, and not just see it, but understand it, and come to the conclusion within ourselves that we are going to make it our duty to be impeccable with our words, because we are now understanding the type of power that comes from our mouths. One fear or doubt planted in our mind can create an endless dream of events. One word is like a spell, and humans use the word like black magicians, thoughtlessly planting spells on each other. Now, now that may sound a little strange. That may sound a little strange, and you may be wondering, Brother Dexter, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this? But if you stay with me for a little while, then hopefully you will get an understanding. In other words, the author is saying that, and I'm quoting from the four agreements, right? He is saying that we are all magicians in some way. We are all magicians, and we cast spells based on what we say. So if we instill fear in someone, that is going to change their behavioral patterns. But that is if that mind is prepared for that. It all depends on what your mind is prepared to receive. Because if your mind is prepared to receive love and positivity, then when negativity comes, you're not going to be affected. You're just going to get that is nothing. Just forget about that. Right? So each human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on someone with our word, or we can release someone from a spell. No, that is important. So we can put a spell on someone, or we can repel it. No, here's the interesting thing. We are able to we cast spells on our children. We cast spells on our children. Spells that have them enslaved for almost all of their lives. What we see. Take for example, a mother who tells her daughter or son that you are stupid. And he tells that child that this over and over again. And that child accepts that word that is being spoken. And keep in mind the source, because if my mother tells me I'm stupid, right? I'm going to believe it because that's my mother. And she tells me this, and I accept that, and I make an agreement with myself that I am stupid. Then guess what? That is going to affect me in my present and in my future, because I'm going to have difficulty in learning, because I've already told myself and agreed that I am stupid. I cannot achieve anything. Now, that spell will have that child enslaved for many, many years, until someone comes by and that individual speaks assuring words and says to that individual, "You are a very bright individual. You're very smart." And if that individual accepts that, right, then that breaks the spell that was primarily cast. And that individual is able to tread anew with a new way of thinking. Because I no longer have that negative agreement. No, I'm empowered because I'm now able to see that I am much better than I was told. Has this ever happened to you? I know that I have experienced things like that in my younger days, to the point that I grew up lacking confidence in myself because of various things that were said to me in the past. The problem I had is that I accepted those things that were being said to me as true. And it's like it cast a spell on me. And I lacked that confidence in myself. And I struggled with this for years upon years. However, when I became a Christian and I started studying the Word of God more, and I associated myself with the right people, then I received more assuring words. Dexter, you are very gifted. You are a talented person. And there was once I just could not listen to my voice. And then someone came along and told me, "Dexter, you have a beautiful voice. You have a wonderful speaking voice." I can remember the first time I was asked to present a lesson on Let the Bible Speak broadcast. That's a program hosted by the Church of Christ in Dominica. And that was many, many years ago. When I was asked, I was so timid, I did not want to do it. Because in my mind, I'm not gifted enough. I'm not smart enough for it. And that's because of things that were said to me. However, I took the opportunity. I took the opportunity and I did one presentation. And I think the following Sunday, we had an island-wide fellowship. And I also went up to give various announcements and stuff. And then a sister from Trinidad who was present, I believe at that time, she and her husband worked with the Church of Christ in Marigot, and that's in Dominica. And she told me, "Dexter, you have a beautiful voice. I believe you have a radio voice, and you should invest some time in nurturing that skill." Just those words that pushed me. And I decided, you know what? Forget about what was said in the past. I'm hearing something new right now, and I'm going to embrace that. And I did. And I got another opportunity to present. And then more opportunities came, to the point that the program manager of the radio station at the time had an opening for a live broadcast that is done every Wednesday. And there was a spot open. And guess what? She called me and she told me, "Dexter, I believe that position is fitting for you. You will fit in nicely." And guess what? I didn't hesitate. I jumped on board and I hosted that program called Keeping It Real Live. And it was a little bit, I was a little bit shaky at first. But again, the confidence and the assuring words that I heard, and then I formed that agreement with myself, then that boosted my confidence. And I hosted that program for about a year until I migrated. So the word, the spoken word, is indeed powerful, and we can use it in positive or we can use it in negative ways. And I want to read this again. Every human is a magician. We can either put a spell on someone with our word, or we can release someone from a spell. We cast spell all the time with our opinions. Here's an example. I see a friend and give him an opinion that just popped into my mind. I say, I see that kind of color in your face, in people who are going to get cancer. If the listener, if he listens to the word, and if he agrees, he will have cancer in less than 1 year. That is the power of the word. That is the power of the word. Are there times, or were there times in your life when you became, it's like you're feeling that you are sick in your mind, but you're not sick, you're feeling that way, and then you're communicating with yourself, and you're telling yourself, you are sick. Eventually, you are going to become sick, folks. That is the power of the word. And that word, it not only the sound that comes from our mouths, but we also speak to ourselves in our minds. So listen, not only can someone cast a spell on you with the spoken word, but you can also cast a spell on yourself by what you say to yourself. So listen, now the word the word is indeed powerful. Now, I'm going to make a statement, and eventually, I would like, I think I'm going to share something on that eventually, and that is domestication. During our domestication, our parents and siblings gave their opinions about us without even thinking. We believe those opinions, and we live in fear over these opinions. Like not being a good swimmer, or sports, or writing. Someone gives an opinion and says, "Look, this girl is ugly." The girl listens and believes she's ugly, grows up with the idea that she's ugly. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is. As long as she has that agreement, she will believe that she is ugly. That is the spell that she is under. No, I know that many of us have experienced these things before. And talking about ugly, at one point in time I was I was like that, you know. Um, and that's one of the things that caused a lack of confidence too, because I grew up and I listened to my peers. Probably at the time there were probably guys who were more handsome than me, so all the young ladies um, would not look my way. Did not look my way. And even some of my close friends I grew up with, they always treated me as though like I'm the ugly duckling. I'm the ugly duckling. And the worst thing is I believe that. I believe that until until I met a few individuals who thought that, hey, this guy is not an ugly guy. And what sealed it was when I went to the Trinidad School of Preaching and Teaching. I met a few sisters there. One name is Candice Payne, and Danielle Hoggins, who is now Joseph, right? And I can recall what is Sister Candice Payne last name right now, but she's married also. And when they saw me for the first time, guess they call me TDH. TDH. So I wondered, what are they talking about? Tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome. That further repelled the thoughts that I had of myself and of my appearance. The word, the spoken word, is indeed powerful. And every day we use the word, and we can use it in positive or negative ways. We cast spells on individuals, or we can repel a spell by the use of our word. It is 8:47, and I have to go. We are beyond our time, and I do have some other appointments coming up this morning. And there is still so much to say on the subject of be impeccable with your words. And one of the things I want to leave with you is don't forget that with the word, we are able to cast spells on individuals, or we can repel a spell. And I want to encourage us to be selective with our words. Use words that will empower, words that will build up. And not only that, and I believe on Friday morning, we will continue this because I want to speak on the subject of, not using your word against yourself. Because we often think that, the spells that we cast and the words and the opinions that we share, that has a negative effect on others. We only think of the effect on the individual, but we can also use our word against ourselves. So tune in tomorrow, Friday morning, and we will definitely continue along that line. However, tomorrow morning we are going to have Brother Neriah Libla with us. That is Lord willing. If the Lord's will, He will be there with us, and we are going to address the topic. The topic is salvation only for the Jews. I know that I have done a series on this already. This will be part 4. And what we are doing is we want to look at this subject from a holistic standpoint. We want to hear the thoughts of others. So tomorrow we're going to hear from Brother Neriah on that particular subject, because there are many who believe and teach that salvation is only for the Jews. So if you're not a Jew, there is no salvation for you. And we want to encourage you to study the scriptures and learn from it. That's how we're going to inspire each other. Giselle Honore is on. Good morning. We have to speak words of life into ourselves and each other. And that is indeed the truth. So we have to be mindful of the things that we say and the things that we believe. And I'm saying this to all of you, but I'm also saying this to myself. And this is one thing that I have to consider deeply, because I do have children, and I realize that sometimes overcorrecting can also lead to cast a spell on your children, where they become, the confident level drops, the ability to learn drops, all because of the spoken words. Here's the encouragement, folks: be impeccable with your words. And I'm going to close off with the quotation of the day. If the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change their world. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Thank you for being a part of the program. I do appreciate every one of you. Those of you who commented, thank you for your comment. Those of you who liked and possibly share, and those of you who will view this later on, I pray that the Lord will continue to bless and keep you, and may you have a blessed and productive day. And don't forget, please don't forget, be impeccable with your words.
Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave